So you're sitting down to play your favorite game, Farming Simulator 22, of course, and you've decided to buy the cereal production facility to pump out some of that nice, flaky, sugary, probably unhealthy cereal, but you don't really like cereal that looks like this. You prefer cereal that looks like this. Or you just don't want to go to the trouble of making raisins, because the raisins are one of the harder crops to do. They're definitely not like the normal crops in the production. Well, this is Broyar, and today we're going to be looking at how to mod your game to tweak some settings to make the cereal the way that you want to. Unfortunately, I think this will only work for PC. I don't know of a way to make this work for the Xbox at this time, because I actually don't own the game on the Xbox. If somebody does know, let me know in the comments below. But let's get into it. All right, so here we are. We're going to go ahead and go into this, and we're going to mod some of the game files to be able to tweak them to do what we want them to do. Now, if you're familiar with XML at all or any sort of coding, this will just be mindless easy for you. But even if you don't know anything about coding at all, following a few of these simple steps should hopefully help you get to where you want to be to make the game do what you want it to do. One thing I will say, though, is that as with any sort of modding of any type, be very careful. It is possible that you could mess up your game in some form or fashion. It's very unlikely with the XML, to be perfectly honest, but I just want to throw that stipulation in there that it is technically possible you can mess something up where it could either mess up a save or just we already have to re-download the game and things like that. So here we are. We're looking at the Farming Simulator 22 file folder. This is the main game folder. Wherever you might have it, you might have it in the Steam folder. You might have it in its own separate folder. Wherever it is, mine's on my little gaming X drive. It's a super fast SSD. But this is you want to go into the main game Farming Simulator 22 folder, not the one that's in the documents folder. The one in the documents folder is where you normally put mod stuff, and this is not going to be touching that type of mod stuff. That would be for somebody else for another day. I'm not going to touch on that, but this is going to be very simple adjustments to the core game files to be able to allow you to do whatever you want to do. All right, so here we go. If we come into the main Farming Simulator 22 game folder and we go into the data subfolder, we should find something called placeables, which production facilities are placeable. That makes sense. If we come into here, and we're going to see a whole bunch of other folders. The ones for the base game production facilities are made by Lizard. I think that's just their kind of homegrown whatever manufacturer. But if we come into here now, we'll scroll down here towards the bottom. In P's, we'll see production points, and we can select that. And we have all the different production points for different maps. There's bakeries, for EU and US, carpenters, EU, US, etc., etc. But what I'm talking about specifically today, although this advice will work for pretty much any of these, to be perfectly honest, is the cereal factory. So we're going to come into the cereal factory, and there's a whole bunch of files in here as well. Most of these are going to be like image files and things like that will actually create the placeable on the map and kind of add the shading and all that kind of stuff that makes it look the way you want it to. But there is one file that we care about here, and that is this XML document. So if we right click on this, and you can choose to open this with whatever you want to open with. I use Notepad++, but just to show you that you can use something else, I'm going to go ahead and come over here and we're going to open it with Notepad, just plain old Notepad. Notepad will work. Everybody has Notepad on their computer. Notepad++ is nice because it actually colorizes the graphics to make it look proper for the type of coding that you're doing. But Notepad is going to be just as good as well. So if we come into this, let's go ahead and make this a bit bigger. And we're going to go scroll down to the production area here. There's a area down here at the bottom. We got production point, productions, and then we've got the production ID equals cereal. And you can see here, there's raisins. All right, we got raisins in here if we wanted to do something with raisins. Well, I don't really want to do stuff with raisins, like I said. So what do we do? Well, could we just remove the raisins? Will it work like that? Well, believe it or not, it actually will. If we come in here, actually, before I do this, very important, I think, anytime you're going to make a change to something that's existing, I think it's very important to go ahead and take this and make a copy of it and just put it on your desktop. Paste a copy of it on your desktop just so you have a backup copy, or you can put it anywhere, but I usually like just to put it on my desktop. That way, if I mess something up, I can always just load this back in without having to load the whole game or whatever like that. So now that we've got that backup copy there, we can come back into this file and we can go ahead and go to the raisins, and we can say, you know what? This first section, capacity, is how much raisins the production facility will hold. Well, if we're not going to use raisins, Or sorry, not the first one. This is the first one. The first one is the input type for the actual production cycle. So if we remove raisins here, that means it will no longer ask for raisins. The numbers here tell you how much of that product it needs for each cycle. But we're going to just remove the raisins for now. Everything else we're going to keep the same. Truth be told, cereal currently is probably one of the least profitable for how much you're putting into it. Production things that you can have. So I think removing the raisins and leaving the prices the same actually still pretty sound. But if you want to tweak the prices just to make up for the fact that you're taking out raisins, feel free to tweak those prices a little bit, or tweak the you know, how much per hour or how many cycles and all that kind of stuff. You can make definitely tons of adjustments to make sure that the output matches, you know, a good fair price and stuff like that. So we remove it from the input. We then remove it from the fill type. Now this is where how much it can actually hold within the factory itself. Obviously, if we're not going to use raisins, we don't need to hold raisins. And then finally, this one down here actually tells you when you roll over the unload little square, these are the types of crops that will trigger that you can unload here. Now again, obviously, if we're not going to hold raisins, we don't want it to trigger that you can unload raisins, because where would they go? Don't know. So we get rid of those 3 raisin things. That's all you have to do. And then we can just save this. And let's go see if it worked in the game. All right. So here we are in game. We don't have any land right now, but we'll buy some here in just a minute. So we're going to see if we can get this production facility put down, and we're going to fill it up with everything but raisins and see if we can still get some cereal coming out. So let's get in here. We're going to go down to the construction area. Actually, I guess first we should buy some land, shouldn't we? We're just going to buy the land sitting right here. That will be fine. No problem whatsoever. I know what I'm looking for. There we go. Go ahead and buy you. Spend a little bit of our money. No big deal. So now we go down to the construction, and we're going to go to the production facilities, and we're going to find us the cereal factory. And there's the cereal factory. And what do you see already? There's no raisin icon on any of those things. Now, did we just break it and it's not going to build properly, or is it still going to work? We're just going to pop it over here on this field because this is just a test. We don't really care about the field itself. We're going to pop it right over there. There is our cereal factory. So let's come over here to the cereal factory and look at the production cycles and see what it says. Which I guess I could have gone to the menu. As you can see, it takes 1 honey, 2 oats, and 2 corn to make 2 cereal. So far, so good. There's no incoming material for raisins or anything like that. Everything looks pretty good so far. But will it actually work? All right. Well, I got a couple other things I'm going to place down. We're going to place down some honey for some bees, obviously, to get some honey. So we'll go over to animals. We're going to get some bees. We're just going to place a bunch of these down. We'll probably place like 4 of these down just to get some out here that we can get some honey coming out relatively quickly. And we'll get the little location. I actually don't know how far apart these have to be. We might actually only be using from these middle 2, but that's okay. It'll be enough honey to make what we need to do happen. And the other thing we're going to place down is I actually have a mod that lets me do this just to kind of shortchange it and make it a little easier. But obviously we could always harvest some stuff if we really cared about it. But we're going to come over here to, I think it's under silos. No, it's under containers. I have a mod that actually lets me buy any type of fruit in the game other than raisins, because that's actually a pallet. Any fruit that can go into a trailer. Let's put it that way. We can put on this, or I think it actually lets you do milk as well if you've got the right trailer for that. Anything that's got like a bulk trailer type of thing that's not exclusive to pallets will allow you to buy it from this. So we've got that. We do need to go ahead and get us a tractor and a couple trailers to get over here. We'll just grab us a whatever basic medium tractor. In fact, we can go ahead and just buy you. We got plenty of money. I just put it on Farm Manager because it doesn't matter. We're going to go into trailers. I'm just going to grab this simple trailer in the end. I do have an auto loading mod trailer. Obviously, this is just to save some time. You can do it with 80 flatbed trailer for this purpose. And then we'll just grab you for a fill trailer. And there we go. We got that. Let's go ahead and bring this over here. I'm going to go ahead and get this over here to our farm, and we'll be right back with the next step. All right, so we got our trailers back over here at the farm, and we're going to go ahead and fill up the factory with some corn and oats to get those ready while we're waiting on the honey to come up. So let's get us some oats. We'll go ahead and fill up this trailer with some of that. Technically missing the trailer, but it's going in. It works. So we'll get you over here. We should get the auto load pop-up or auto unload pop-up because we did not change the oat settings. There it is. Get you dropped in there as I'm destroying my crop on this field that I don't care about. Technically, this is way more oats than we need, but it filled up really fast, so why not? All right, now we're going to go over and get some corn, and then we're going to go ahead and fast forward a couple days to get us some honey out of here. and see if, with just those 3 ingredients, will this factory work as is. Let's get us some corn here. Where is it? There we go. Now, we're not paying full price for this with this little mod here. I don't use this fill trailer. I bought it just to see if I could get raisins out of it. Or I should say I installed it on my other playthrough to see if I could get raisins out of it, which I could not. And it makes sense because, again, it's a pallet thing and not a thing that you can throw in the back of a trailer. But other than that, I just, the prices are too cheap for me. I don't think I would ever use it otherwise. I might go into the game files and mod that if I ever wanted to just use it to fill in some stuff. Like if I didn't want to do cows for milk, I might mod it to actually pay full price for milk and stuff like that. But anyway, that's not the point of this little thing here. All right, so there we go. We got those 2 in there. We can go into the production thing. We can see there's corn waiting on some honey. Maybe. Or are we also waiting for raisins? Well, let's find out. Let's fast forward a couple days here and see if we can get some honey out of there. We're going to need a little bit of honey because I think it needs more than 1 pallet to make a full pallet of cereal itself. Let me get around here. We left that trailer there in the way. Come through here. Honey will auto-unload on its own. There we go. We got honey. And is that enough to get this thing producing? Let's see. Well, it looks like it might have everything. Let's turn it on and see if it's running. It says it's running. And it just pulled out a liter of everything. But it hasn't made any cereal yet. So let's fast forward another day to see if we've got any cereal coming out of the other side. Do we have cereal yet? We do. Well, what do you know there? Look at that. No raisin cereal already sitting out here. Now, here's the funny thing about the cereal in this game. None of these, Sweet Wheat, Choco Loops, Happy Hoops, none of those have raisins. Like even their box colors don't have raisins. But looking at these right here, kind of makes me wonder, what else could we do with this? Sweet Wheat Choc Loops and Happy Hoops, which I guess are kind of like fruit thingies. Not to use brand names. Brand names. Goodness, can't talk. So we're going to go back to the file and we'll be right back. So here we are back at the file. And I want to know, could I add some other cereal types to this? Well, let's find out if this will work. So if we come in here, we'll grab the production here, and we want to grab this whole section from one production opening section to the closing one. That little slash there means that this is the closing for that section. So we're going to grab everything within the production. I'm going to Control-C, copy that, and we're going to just come down here to a new line, and just because I'm very perfectionist, I have to get it to line up perfectly. We're going to paste another one. Let's actually paste 2 more. If we're going to do it once, we might as well do a couple of these, right? Let's paste 1 more here. And there we go. So I don't know if the ID matters that much. For me, my own personal coding, I feel like I have to have different IDs. So we're just going to call this Serial 2 and Serial 3. It might not matter within the game. Who knows? But what kind of cereal do we want to have? Well, one of my other favorite cereals is a sugary, flaky thing that's made with corn. And so we're going to keep the maize in there. But instead of honey and oats, let's get rid of the oats. And instead of honey, let's change this to sugar. And I'm actually going to increase the maize up to 3 since we got rid of some of the oats. And we're going to double up the sugar. So that still gives us 5 total inputs. I mean, again, I'd recommend if you're going to do this, go sit down and figure out the math to make it fair. Maybe we change the cycles or the cost per active hour, things like that. But for now, this is fine. Just for testing purposes. So we got sugar and maize. So we got a corny sugar flaky thing. What about the other one? Well, we saw chocolate. Would chocolate work? I don't know. Let's find out. So let's do chocolate and oats, just to kind of do something a little bit different. So instead of honey, we're going to come in here and we're going to say chocolates. And again, same type of thing. We're going to do 2 chocolates and 3 oats to make 2 cereal. Looks good to me. Now, what else do we have to do? Well, we have to have a place to put all this stuff. So we've got to add our 2 new fill things here. So we're going to come up here. We're actually going to copy the honey because 30,000 of each of these new things should be fine. So why don't use Notepad? Because the tabbing is terrible. But anyway, so we got honey here. So we're going to change the honey to sugar. So now we have a fill of 30,000 sugar that we can put in here, presumably. And then we're going to change this to chocolate. And presumably, again, 30,000 chocolate. Now we have to do one more thing. It's not going to auto unload these things as it currently stands. So we're going to come down here And we're going to add sugar and chocolate. I can spell it properly. Very important to spell properly. To this here. So now we have 3 different types of cereal with 3 different types of ingredients. Will this work? We're going to save this and we're going to load right back into the game and we'll see. So here we are back in the game. Did our adjustments work? Well, let's go ahead and I'll just run over here. We're already halfway there. We're going to pull up the manage production menu here. We see 2 more cereal lines here. This one requires sugar and corn to produce 2 cereal. And this one requires 2 chocolate and 3 oats to produce 2 cereal. They all produce the same type of cereal output. I'm not changing any of that. And honestly, I think that's fine. Because as we can see, I mean, even the picture is a bunch of variety. So we could fill up all of these things. We could fill it with chocolate. We can fill it with oats. We can fill it with sugar, the honey, and the, obviously we're going to have corn and oats in there anyway. So all that together, we could have multiple ways to make more sugar just through different things. Because, honey takes a while. So maybe we want to do sugar or maybe we want to do the chocolate. So there you go, guys. And you can do this with any of the production facilities. There's no reason why you couldn't. Now, the inputs have to exist. And obviously the outputs have to exist unless you want to get into some of the deep modding. Which, again, this is very lightweight. This is just anybody could do this following the steps that I just did. But if you want to get into the deep modding, I recommend there's probably some other videos out there on YouTube that will teach you that kind of stuff. And it's not like it's that much harder. But I thought this was so easy that it was worth showing you guys. That way you can make some modifications. Because honestly, the next time I play and I want to do some cereal, I probably am going to make this modification. I might check the price just because I want to keep it fair. But and I might adjust that slightly. But overall, I don't want to do raisin cereal because personally, again, I don't like raisin cereal, but I also, the raisins, I don't know, they're fine and they're unique and they're different. I love that they added them into the game, but I personally think they're a little bit, I don't know, maybe boring compared to some of these other crops that we do. So if you don't want to do raisins, or if there's some other production thing that you've got, that you don't want to do XYZ for, maybe you want to make some cakes with grapes. No, that's weird. Maybe you want to make some cakes with, I don't know, something different besides maybe chocolate cake. We can make a chocolate cake. Now, the graphic that comes out the other side will still look like it has strawberries on top. You have to kind of go with it there, and again, unless you get into some deep modding of actually creating your own graphic. But very simply, you could make the cake be chocolate instead of a strawberry cake. That would be kind of cool, right? So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this type of stuff and want to see more of it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, maybe consider becoming a channel member. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty cool. The fact that it actually worked as easily as it did. So there you go, guys. Let me know. And I do appreciate you guys watching. May God bless you. And I hope you join me again next time. Thank you and goodbye. I wanted to give a special shout out to our first channel member ever, Telrenar. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.